שם מסכת המעשרות דף מ' ג' נשמע גדול בתורה משחיים ביצלגה שלנו ויצלחם הרייזו das verjährste Fußlein hier nicht mal Leben oder Vergang mein Jude. The last line of Mem Gimel and Aleph. The mother asks, Af b'chala came, achloikis of kiva chacham. This is a boy in the Gemara. Af. Is it so that the kiva and the chachamim that are machulik by churva, plants in a churva, plants in a soda, and then it becomes a house, or vice versa. So the machlokes of the kiva and the chachamim is by churva and by suya places, but shlish, it had one halacha. It was in a soda, and then it becomes into a bias. It loses its status of a soda. It's not chayiv in trumas and maises. You go according to the Bekiva, you go botza shlish rishon, and according to the Chachamim, in these various different cases where it changes the status, according to the Bekiva goes shlish rishon, according to Chachamim goes shlish sheni. What's an afkamina for the tesefes? What grows afterwards, after the shlish rishon, according to the Bekiva, it has the same status as the first shlish. According to Chachamim, no. The tesefes has the din of as it is now, and you don't go bash l'shish. That's the machlokes, basically two blot of Gemara until here. Now the Gemara declares that's trumas and maises. Clarity as the Gemara b'av b'chala came machlokes the b'kiva chachamim. Do I say by chala is the same halacha or not? Look to Merav Fulda. Take a look at Merav Fulda. There's piece on Mem Gimel and Aleph on the bottom, on the right side. In name afli chala machlokes the b'kiva and avodah. Do we say the same machlokes applies? This is the shaila. Hevi a shlish yad goy. There was one shlish in the hands of a goy. Let's say it was a suya. V'lach yisrael, and then the yisrael buys it. Im the Rav Akiva potem michala Rabban chayiv at the sefes that you chayiv on the sefes chal that the kiva you bought it. Do I say this is the zalba halacha? It's finished. Look at the Rashi, please, on the left side, left column, on the last line. Av b'chala kain machlokes b'kiva bayehi. The Gemara uses here the lotion of av b'chala kain. It's not like in the Babli. The Babli would always say yiboye, bayelu. Here, the lotion of Yishalmi is the syntax of Yishalmi is av b'chala kain. Is it so by chala? Bayehi. Afilu the inyan. Chala poter b'kiva. Do I say you go boss to the shlish, which was in suya, which is not chayiv, is poter? Ki godol boser asovim. Do we say it has a din of asovim? It's a shlish. It's only an esav. It's weeds. Nishkan peiris. Oy boser nitila sichuch. Or you go boser. You took off the schach, and now it's a soda. Do I say now the same thing by chala? The kiven the shiyusa v'kula the schicha kesiva b'kra that yoytze asoda means you have to have a soda. The schach makes it. It's not a soda because once it has a schach, it's no longer. It's considered like a bias. Nishkan soda. You're not chayiv in trumas and maises. V'osem shlushi the siv as called tuvua zeracha mehi nafkalon shlish shloish shona state of morin in Rosh Hashanah pei glut b'gozel. The shinen es shuzoyin oisoi umatzmiach. Avachala the pochas. Now, what's the shayla? Why chala should be different? Because chala is not something that grows. It doesn't grow. Chala is dope. Chala the pochas mishlish. Now, I'm in bechayva. There's no such concept by chala of a shlish. Chala is chala. Gilgul. You make it into a dough. You didn't make it. Do anisa and shtok anisa. Do anisa is chayiv. Shtok anisa. The ganze shayla wegen was wegen shlish in the shtu by chala. Avachala the pochas b'shlish and avachayve kigav nachitehi v'loy minin le'hochav. So what's the shaychus to do with ganzen? Maybe chala doesn't have any shaychus over here. That's how the Rashi is. But nonetheless, the Gemara fragments for Ashayla. Look in the first two lines they play Moshe. Bayehi. It's in a boy. Miyam imam minon. Left side on the bottom. The Av B'Chala Pligi B'Kenza, the Machlokes of Bekiva and the Chachamim is also by Chala. V'zeh le'misparish ashas ha'gidlu. We can't say we're talking on the gidlu like we say over there by Trumas and Maises to go boss to the shlish, because the Chiyav HaChala Mishas Gidlu is easy. Ella, so what's the tushtel? What does the Gemara want by challah? The Gegoyin shebetchila is gilgul. He says the chila is gilgul ha'isa b'makom aptur, she'ha'isa b'chutzayis v'lei gomra ad shechnis l'doros. Now you'll ask all the bakers, guys, the Haim Frag the Davidson, what's chila is gilgul? What's sav gilgul? What's the chila is gilgul? What's the sav gilgul? You put the water in. You need the dough. It comes out of dough and fatig. What's the chila? What's sav? It's very not not defined here. What is the shaila in the Gemara? Tchilosay v'soifa, and the Rashi really is already struggling with this. And he said, "Those goof is the shaila. About there's no tchila, there's no gidl by chala. So what exactly is the question here in the Gemara? Ben is Kiva is talking about a shlish. Sagt er Prei Moshe, hoye betchila as gilgul makom aptur hoysa, v'damye letvua shavi shlish. This is abzdoime. To that to a shlish, biyad a goy, locham and yisrael. Rabban chayeves, I dilma, the shani hoche, v'chala, mikiven she'ach sheva medez, v'makam achiyev, it's chayev. What's enough of what's the tchilah, what's the soif? Loi dami the hosem, da gidl atzmei me shlish, rishon biyad a. So it's not easy to understand exactly what the Gemara means over here, that by chala, it should be doime, the machlokes to be kiven the chachamim. Aber zok the Gemara nomad beis, Ma'at boye min Rabbi Kiva. What's business from Rabbi Kiva? What do you want? What do you want by challah? Rabbi Kiva, Oma, what are you asking me a question, Rabbi Kiva? Chadachanaf in a Mishnah. In the second parak, in the first Mishnah, Masechta Challah, Rabbi Kiva, Oma, Peiris, Chutz La'aretz, Shenechnes La'aretz, Chayovim B'challah. Yeah, Peiris Chutz La'aretz. And they come into Eretz Yisrael, it's Chayovim B'challah. So what's this Chayav B'challah? If you go boss the Tchilosai, the more is telling to and I ain't going in Eretz Yisrael, for Chutz La'aretz, the Tchila Shlish and Soif Shlish. It's a very not easy to understand exactly what the Gemara is telling to, but the Gemara is saying, about you see, it's changing status. That's the a Shlish is one status, Noch a Shlish is Noch a status. Outside Eretz Yisrael, inside Yisrael, it's two different halachas, two status. So do I say, according to Rabbi Kiva, if Baltus is outside Eretz Yisrael, it would be potter. There's no chiv, biyasor, you need biyasoretz, and this peiris. Now when it says peiris, it's the fact that about this. Here, they talk about why peiris. You're talking about a Gilgal here, right? Isa. Which the Mishnah uses the word peiris chutz la'oresh and netness la'oresh chayom b'chalav. Peiris is not chay b'chalav. Peiris chay b'chalav. Talking about Isa. You asked this question, right? So you take a look over here. What? Two is peiris. Okay. But we're talking about Isa. The whole idea is Isa, not Tvua, not the grain. We're talking about the whole thing is very interessant. Zukte do the Yerushalmei, Peis Chutz La'aretz, Mitzasi Muga b'Masnisin, Chayovim b'Chala u'b'Maisis. The real gist is like the Yerushalmei. You found the correct gist in the Mishnah, which says Taka Chayovim b'Chala, not b'Peis. We said Peis. Also, he's adding on here. Not he's changing the word peiris, but he said chayov b'chala and peiris and maisis. The same halacha by maisis and also by chala. Ayin sham b'Rambam shenei misham da'ina gisa b'hedyu b'mashnisin. Okay, but the Batanura says Pirish Arab. Oh, look, nishgun. Sorry, the place is yontiv. Peiris chutz lo shenechtes ha'oretz. The siba osa shani meves shoma ata chayov bein b'peiris ha'oretz bein b'peiris chutz lo. Yeah, it's not clear exactly what he means here. He's just adding on that the Gizah was Chai B'Chala Uber Maisis. That could be why he says Peiris. But he's talking about Maisis also, not just by Chala. So that's why I used the Lashon from Peiris. Peiris is like you were saying, it looks like it's an expanded word. It means everything, not just this. What's that for the Gemara by saying? Ma ad boy me'mekiv Oma Peiris chutzah shenechs zoaz chayom b'chala. And so therefore, if he holds that is the halacha, you go boss at a status rishon. Let's call it like that. Where it was chutz la'aretz, and even though now it's Eretz Yisrael, we say that it's chayiv. It doesn't go boss at rishon. It doesn't go what it was in the beginning. It was outside Eretz Yisrael. Comparing that to shlish rishon, even though really this has no dimion to shlish rishon, but it changes the status. Here it was chutz la'aretz, now it comes Eretz Yisrael. So we see that we don't go bossa the first status that it was. We go bossa what it is now. Now it's in Eretz Yisrael. it is chayiv b'Eretz. Even though here you learn out from psukim, as we saw yesterday, it's al psukim. Like upon him, the Gemara slugs up the question, the Aboya, the Gemara answering the Aboya and saying that it's not the same machlokes. Now the Gemara says in Yizbar Rabbi Kiva Kerebelezer, but however, if you can say Rabbi Kiva holds like Kerebelezer, a Vuzak Kerebelezer, Yois Ata Maksha, then you have a good Aboya. What does Kerebelezer say? Kerebelezer is talking about in the Sefer Yotzu Mikan Lashon. These Peders left Eretz Yisrael and they went outside Eretz Yisrael. So what's the din now outside Eretz Yisrael? Is a Blazer Mechayev. The Blazer says Yechayev. And the Kiva says Yepoter. But if I'll say that the Kiva is going to hold like a Blazer, then what? That you're going to be Chayev. Why are you going to be Chayev? Because these payers were originating in, point of origin was in Eretz Yisrael. About that was in Eretz Yisrael. So if the Kiva would be masking to the Blazer, you see, you go boss the first status what it was in Eretz Yisrael. So that's its Chayev. So Mele Zepmendach that this is a Shaila, you go boss Shlish Rishon, so to speak, even by Challah. That's what the Gemara is saying. If you say that Kiva holds like a blazer, Yos Atamaksha, do we say, how does it work by Challah? It should be the same halacha. So Abun Bachia Boy Kumer Bzira. Okay, this is enough Hashad bin Otzis Nokel. But Akaponim, this is the Ivrif in the Gemara, and the Gemara holds, let's see the Mafulda first, because it's much shorter and much easier to grasp it. In the left side,
it's Yos Ato Amrit, that you said that it's Lali B'chala. So really what the Gemara really asked the question is that you said B'chala is a machlekes of Laz and Rabban.
And I bring a raya, but he says, if Rabbi Kiva would hold like Rabbi Lezer, so it would be shaykh to say that Challah has the same din. Rabbi Kiva, however, does not hold like Rabbi Lezer, he's Mechul Gan Rabbi Lezer. So you see that Challah is a different din. But the Gemara is explaining that Challah doesn't have a gidl, it has a tchil's gilgul, or it's tchil's chiyuva, a sub chiyuva. The Gemara did want to say that Challah should be doimed to the machlekes of what we have by Surya, and that's the chiddush of the Gemara. Look at the Ma'afulda. Ma'ad boye eitz Rabbi Kiva. Linyan Challah. What's Rabbi Kiva's opinion on Challah? The B'challah moed Rabbi Kiva, he's going to be maskim to that you don't go bust to the shlish rishon, you don't go by the first status. Sheyaf pays chutz la'aretz mechayev Rabbi Kiva B'challah b'pei sheni the Challah. You see, he's mechayev it, which came into Eretz Yisrael, which is status, the second status, or the shlish achron, so to speak. And mele zeyach that is no connection for Challah to Peres, because you see, he holds a different halacha. Sucked up with the Gemara. In means if Yizbar Rabbi Kiva Kerebelezer, if Rabbi Kiva is going to hold like Kerebelezer, which he doesn't, the poite alibe de Rabbi Yehuda b'Challah b'shas sham mefurish. Okay, that's he has a whole Rabbi Yehuda, it's a different gist there. Okay. Oh, take a look here now. The Rashi, 4 or 5 lines from the top on the right side. Umishani. Gemara is answering this question. This Aboya. Excuse me. Ma'ad boya mi Rabbi Kiva. What are you asking me on Rabbi Kiva? If he's, they say that you're potter, and because it came from outside Eretz Yisrael, the Gedolim is Mechayev Rabbi Kiva Gabachala. But Chala, it's more chomer, because here you say that even though it's a shlish sheni, it came into Eretz Yisrael, it's Chayev B'chala. Rabbi Kiva oime peiris chutz la'ashin echtes eretz chayav b'chala. V'afilu godlu kol tzorkam b'chutz la'aretz. He's saying even though the gilgul was 100% in chutz la'aretz, and now you bring it into Eretz Yisrael, if the gilgul was outside and it's a ganzen potter, but you bring in bilkalach as flying on a plane, you come into Eretz Yisrael with a sandwich, right? You can't eat the sandwich anymore. Why? It's Chai B'Challah. You didn't take Challah in New York. What are you looking at me like that? That's the Gemara says. Huh? What?
Strange concept.
A strange concept. Yeah, but that's the boy in the Gemara. No.
Plasticate before a sandwich. Yeah, that's a different thing.
The Kiva oime peiris chutz la'aretz shenechnas Eretz Yisrael. That's our Mishnah. Often the Mishnah, I said. Peiris chutz la'aretz shenechnas Eretz chayav b'challah. So if I would ask you this question before, no. What are you talking about? Here he's talking about the what? The Gilgul was in Eretz Yisrael. So the Gilgul was in Eretz Yisrael. You're not making the Gilgul on the plane, right? Okay, comes again to that from the Shoinim, yeah? And he says, I feel God, because he has a Gemara. He has a problem with this Gemara. What's Pshat in the Gemara? So he's learning Pshat. Filu Godlu Kol Salkam B'chutz La'aretz. And that means the Gilgul. So It's not, he's making this up. Where's the Mishnah notes? Mamashim Mefurish Apostle, Mikra, Asha Ani, maybe Eschem Shoma. Shoma Atachayovim, Bein Beperes Oretz, Bein Beperes Chutzotz. It has to do you eating the Peres in Eretz Yisrael, but the Bechuy V'chala. You eat it outside Eretz Yisrael, you're part of the Chala. Even though the whole Gilgul, everything was outside Eretz Yisrael, yes, it's in Eretz Yisrael, it has to do with the Chayvus Garba. You're eating Peres in Eretz Yisrael, that's bright, in Eretz Yisrael, but the Chayvus Chala. Look to Gemara. No, it's not Chala. No, it's not Chala. What is it Chala? What? I didn't, by the way, Rabbi says this is a strange thing that if you didn't take Chala from the East, you have to take it from the Chalas. Right? Matzah venom from the salad. Yeah. Why? Because the Chalas by matzah is not trying to take it from the Isa, it's shtugatzad, but it's chumas. But that's the halacha. Almo, you can have it from the Isa, it's from the Chala. So that's he's saying here. You bring in Paris from chutz stores. You bring it into Eretz Yisrael. Darf man haben Chala? In Yisber, Rabbi Kiva, it's a new business, right? For Koif and Dot and Broid, and it's got on the plane, right? He said, "I'll give you was the Shuganam Chala." Okay, it's not so bad because the mice never the Chala usually midrabon, never the chutz stores anyway, right? The shayla is no, so you could be oisa the raisa, but the rabon with the raisa. Can the froshes chala from the rabon and be moitzah the raisa? You had no chiyuv with the raisa, you had no chiyuv the rabon because that chiyuv was very interessant. The shayla. Okay. Alibli Yehuda the potter us and the boss of mikora is linon. Oh, you see what he says here? Boss of mikora is. He doesn't say you go boss of the giddle because there's no giddle here. Boss is no. It's a vaxtachnish. He's talking about gilgul. So you say you go boss of mikora, boss of hashda. So if I say Rabbi Kiva holds like Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Lezer is the one that say you go boss of mikora, you always have to maksha claim you always at the boy. You're asking a correct question. The ozu boss of mikora. Then you go boss of what it was before, which is the Chay the Shlish Rishon, that same concept that you find by Peres. Avo Rabbi Kiva boss toich ave Eretz Yisrael ozer. Yeah, this the Rashi really throws in. You say this all of a sudden like a klap yad. It has to do with the ave Eretz Yisrael. What's that with ave Eretz Yisrael? Because it's not growing in Eretz Yisrael, right? It's nothing to do with the growth. It's not something which Trumas Amais is Gidlos. The Vax in the red. This Vax the red. This is a Gilgul. So what's the ton the Gilgul in Eretz Yisrael has to do with the Ave Eretz Yisrael. What's up to Ave Eretz Yisrael? Because the Karka. It's not a shaykhus to the Karka. So it has to do with the airspace. It's coming into Eretz Yisrael. What does it mean in coming into Eretz Yisrael? The Ave Eretz Yisrael. That's how he's masbid the Zah Rasa because it's under with the ground. So Mela does the shayla in the Gemara. Okay. There's a big Rambam and Ravid here on this aboya. So we can't just go by without mentioning this. Moedik Alochas here. It's totally his episode. The Rambam is in Perik Aleph Halacha Chabez in Trumas. He changed around the order of the Mishnah in the Mishnah Chala. He says like this: Peris Eretz Yisrael Shiyotzu L'Chutzos. That's a sefer. It went out of Eretz Yisrael, goes out to Chutzos. Futurim min Achala u'min Atruma u'min Amaisis. It's bought from not only Chala. The Mishnah talks about Chala, right? So the Tzasi b'Seif and Mugazok them Loch Shleim is 2 months of Maisis, and you see that was the Rambam's Gissa, because the Rambam says not only it's bought from Chala, this Mishnah is Chala doesn't say anything about Trumas and Maisis, our text, but the Rambam had a Gissa bought min Chala, min Trumas, and Maisis, and that's the Bekiva. We pass in whenever it's Machlokes of Bezdin and Bekiva, we pass on the Bekiva. Shenema Ashani maybe Eschem Shoma. Shoma Atachayovim, you only mechuyev in Trumas and Maisis. Very interesting. This was Peres Eretz Yisrael. You take out Peres from Eretz Yisrael. The Peres were mechuyev in Trumas and Maisis. You take it out, it's Tevel. Take out Tevel. You take it out to Chutzos, it's Potter. Why is it Potter? Shoma Atachayovim, Chutzos Beturim. What happened to the Tevel? What are you going in the Tevel? You want to tell me Chal is in Lechem Oretz, has to be Lechem Oretz. This is outside, it's not Lechem Oretz. Good, verstehe. Also ich bin hochgewachsen zu wissen, that Chal is totally in Lechem Oretz. But you tell me now Trumas and Maisis, mit die Ziehe wird das Bote, geht weg the Tevel, wie get back the Tevel? So we'll see in a minute the Kesef Mishnah, but this is And this doesn't say in the Mishnah, but this is the Rambam's l'chayre. This was his gis in the Mishnah. Because suya is midivrei. Okay, that's the sefer of the Mishnah. So the chiddush is the Rambam puts in over here. Not only we're talking about challah, he adds on trumas emaisa, and he says a moedik chiddush that the payers of Eretz Yisrael goes out of Eretz Yisrael, goes into chutzlah, and it's talking about here not the meruah. As I push up shatneh, we'll soon see. Others want to say not like that, but that is the push up shat. The moedik chiddush is that payers of Eretz Yisrael, leave Eretz Yisrael, it's potem and trumas emaisa, and it doesn't say anything about the rabbanon. V'chein. Now, our ratio, which is his sefer, v'chein peiris chutz la'oretz, shenechnas u'la'oretz, shetach in the Mishnah chayovim, b'chala, shenema, shoma atem, asher veislam shoma in Eretz Yisrael, shoma atem chayovim, bein b'peiris la'oretz, bein b'peiris chutz la'oretz, and it doesn't say one word here about trumas emaisis. Shetach no chala. Now, Monisha, if the ratio is talking, if the sefer is talking about trumas emaisis, so the Reish is also about Tukim Maisis. So why would the Rambam quotes the Reish? He just says Chali, doesn't say Trumas and Maisis. The Chali should be the same halacha that, but it's a problem, right? Because Bishleim Chala overgewachsen with certain Yisoidis, right? No, go ahead. No, what do you say? In the Reish, the Rambam says on the way you take it out of Eretz Yisrael, you put it from Trumas and Maisis and for Chal because you took it out, put it, yeah. Sefer, he says, when you bring it into Eretz Yisrael, he says you only chayav b'chala. What about Trumas and Maisis? Oh, very good. Because you bring in Bishleim b'chala, it's a Gilgul, he says chayav. But you take in from Peiris, from outside Eretz Yisrael, you bring it into Eretz Yisrael, you want to be chayav in Trumas and Maisis? But what's nicht? The Zuk's the Chazvus that is told in the Avit, right? Oh, but Zay's the Chaznish. You see that what Peiris Eretz Yisrael that goes out, even though it's already mechuyev, in Trumas and Maisis gewachsen, so you take it out, bingo, it's out, right? Hätte jetzt hier, ois chiv Trumas and Maisis, tevel, ois tevel. How does it go? Das steht in the Rambam, right? And that's how you learn Pshat in the Mishnah, right? So Bazoi, do the same trick outside. You bring it outside, bring it in, so zayin chiv Trumas and Maisis. If it's storing the Avi, right, so let it be mechuyev. Zuk the Kesem Mishnah. Oh, well, before we go to the Kesem Mishnah, look to the Ravid. Now remember, the Ravid, we had a Ravid a couple of days ago, Far Shabbos, and we learned the Ravid. The Ravid says that if something grows in the chuva, planted in the chuva, the din is that it's chayiv, trumas and maisis. Why? Because the seis hasoda. Chuva is considered hasoda. If it's outside the chuva, or you cover the chuva with a schach, that's called now a bias. Once it's called a bias, it's potter, right? So the Rambam says it's potter and a bias is potter. Look the Rambam, Yirili that Yichayim the Rabban. The Rambam is jumping on the Rambam and says, well, we state that the Rabban was Yichayim the Rabban, right? Here the Rambam is say punkt verkehrt. Listen to this. He says here, Chaim Avram li nirish lo inachet ku Reb Lazar Reb Akiva bezeh ele bechiyev toire ubetur toire. This machlokes in the Mishnah to Bachala is only benigaya to the Reis Dikadin. The Blazer oze boss gema pri. Rebbe Kiva oze boss. He goes boss to the gema pri where it was when the pri was finished. Paris, not only the challah, because challah is the shkam pri. It was gema pri. What do you say? The gilgul is gema pri. It's hard to say gilgul is gema pri. Elamai, he means to say that's going on the Paris also. Paris and the Tua. So it's gema pri. But Tua has nothing to do with the Gemara Pri. But as I looked at, Rebbe Kiva is masbin machlokas Rezeki. Rebbe Kiva also bosse mokin kviyas lemaisa the hainu meruach, which is the meruach, and bachala mistam is the gilgul. Ava mederabonon. Took the Ravid mederabonon. Mission not talking about mederabonon. Mederabonon means afa bishiyotze chutz laoretz v'nimechu sham chayovim mederabonon. Even though we're out there, so. And we say that Rambam Paskin is what like a Bekiva and has a heti tzia, also all the chiyuvim go away. Or midrabanon is chayiv. Ram zuknish midrabanon. Zuk the Ravid with the Ravid was tying on the Rambam before by chuva. We did Rambam genim in the Rabbanon. Shetach is the Rabbanon in the Gemara. Here the Ravid all of a sudden says, it's a chiyuv midrabanon. Just the opposite. Pink fakir. Chayav midrabanon mishum de loigriya mi perish in shinor Umitzrayim, V'amoy, Nemoyev, the Gzeira, the Chom Mogoyze. So here, Zach do Gzeira. Look, the Zach with the Rabban. Void Shlo Yomru Reinu Peis HaYisrael Shenachol B'Tivla Mishay Nemoyde Boim. Toya is a Toya. Zuk of them that I the Kesef Mishnah. He always goes with explaining that I Midivreim Shekoseh B'Soyv Devorov Koi Gam Lechala. ואף שלא ימי בניין אחד, אין החינמי בפייס חוצה שנכתס ליצור חיובת בחלה מדרייסה, הוא הדין תרומס המייסס, מיהו הנים מילו כשנכנסו לאורץ קודם שנקבו למייסה, before the קביעס, דומי דחלה, דמי בנכנס לאורץ קודם גילגול, and that's why the gilgul was in it. So that's how he wants to pamper what the grace of Shaila, how to come pays from the outside it, so come in there, so why is it chayiv? Because the gilgul was in it. So doesn't say the Rambam, but the Chaymer Akushi, that's what he's learning Pshat. Avum nikvu l'maises b'chutz l'oretz. It was nikva outside, v'acha nechnes l'oretz, ma'acha sheb'shas kiviyas l'maises, hoy b'chutz l'oretz, porach mehem chiyiv trumas l'maises, u'puturim minatoyim. Porach mehem, so get that back. Avu chayovim midivreim. Look, the Ravid is chay midivreim. U'fi zeh shir loshen abenu kachu nikvu l'maises, shon. As I held it. ומה שכוסף וניקל למעשה, לכוי לנירה מדברי רבינו, שהוא מחלק בין חל למעשה. The Rambam is לכוי מחלק בין חל למעשה, בפייס חוץ לאורץ, שנכנסו לאורץ. That in the Sefer, where it comes into Eretz Yisrael, he doesn't say anything about Trumas Maisa. He only talks about Chala. שחייב בחל מדרייסה, מעשה זה אין חייב אלא מדבריהם. ויש לתמויה, מאחד מקרו, דשומע ילף לפטור. Shoma means only in Eretz Yisrael. Gamet Trumas Maises Perisos. Yotzu Lechutzos Mela Islam the Mela L'Chim Medraisa. She says the same thing. Why is the Rambam changing the difference between coming into Eretz Yisrael and going out of Eretz Yisrael? Coming into Eretz Yisrael, he says that it's only in the Techala. Going out, both of them will be poted. If Shaloim the Sober Rabbeinu the Afagav the Cross Shoma Ahani Leptur Peris Eretz Yisrael Yotzu Lechutzos. It doesn't go the Betur, the Pat is it, the Shoma, that is not here, it's Potter, but going in is not Machayev. Mishum, why? The Siv, not a condition. Not only Shoma has to be Lechem Oretz, and that's only Megayat Techala, it's not Techala, it's not Megayat. Just one more thing I want to leave you with is what the Chaim brings over here. Bizmanenu shesholchem peris or oretz l'chutz oretz loch l'maisa. You take peris of this do achieve misal maruf of them, but the soigim along achieve. But he's talking about bizmanenu shesholchem peris oretz l'chutz oretz le'nifteru haperis b'chutz oretz klal. There's no heti yitzir. He says you can't rely on this heti yitzir to say to b'kiva poitiv yotzu mikan l'shom right sheitachas yipoter. So we take peris from Eretz Yisrael, mashik tzalot orange, you buy a yafa on it. He says yipoter. They passing the Rambam like b'kiva. Zuk the do mekenish soimas on of them heti zuk the af im balabayis hu amoiche b'chutz loed b'kol shken amoiche the sitan kan he sells it to a broker. He says we can't rely on this Rambam. Why? V'akoyne b'chutz loed peris hamavoyim Eretz Yisrael. Kol zman sheni day shem musod and sorch la'isem. Same thing. You buy peris from Eretz Yisrael. V'yef shelo hokom yitam svek because it's tevel. Tevel is nishbotel, but because it's something which is it's a double shabola heta, so you can't be the kach goes chacham on this. This Rambam. V'yesh rishonim shecholkom harabeinu sfilei the gam peretz Yisrael sheyotzu lechutzos l'fnei meruch is chayav min atayah. I get in the chaydish shabbos. I get this.
Why does somebody want to do that? Is it irrelevant?
That's irrelevant.
Take out first, maybe we'll go back up.
Why you want to do that?
Business.
Geschäft.
Yeah, but if you do that, you just said that you're not going to carry all the too much and all the nonsense. Take it out, Israel. So.